WNBA and the NBA CBA are about to make a deal. 1.1 million has been the proposal, according to the Associated Press. Is it a good deal? Are they getting everything they wanted? We just want to have an open mic and talk about it as the WNBA and find out what your thoughts are, and I'll give you what my thoughts are. Happy holidays, happy Thanksgiving as we get ready to go into holiday season. Nothing like starting a good warm fire to stay warm. Here's the deal. The WNBA have got to close this deal. And I really said they put some urgency on it because now, again, you've got the gambling obligations and everything that's going on. So where is it all going to land? Everybody's excited. $1 million. And of course, Money Mike always going to put you on the flip side of the coin. I've been silent for the last couple of days. I really want to know, are the WNBA, are they undercutting themselves a little bit? Are they below the market? Are they getting a fair market share? Is it the money? Is it the revenue? ProjectB. And one question I did have, does ProjectB take coaches? Because I think we got some WNBA coaches that probably should get somewhere around the neighborhood of $3 to $5 million to coach in Project B. Of the remaining coaches, they're not the new hires, but of the remaining coaches that have come in. You know, I got a little strange feeling on this one because Ogwumike floated a figure with Project B and Project B of $2 million. So that, you know, in a negotiation, normally what happens, folks, the first person talks loses, right? Whoever comes up or makes an offer. Well, indirectly with Project B of a $5 billion new league, and I'll make it easy for everyone because I don't want to make it really confusing. You got Team USA. The last Team USA is the Project B, so they can hurry up that rush and get to those players. But when I looked at that and I said, well, somebody floated a number and now the WNBA is trying to get as close as they can to the number within reason of saying we're going to have max contracts up to $1.1 billion, including revenue sharing. Now, as I sat back on that and I looked at it, I said, wow, okay, how's this all going to work out? Because here's what I got a funny feeling, and I'm not sure. The max contract of how many players can be on max, I think they're saying more than one. Does that mean three? And also, you're going to see a lot of different negotiation tactics by WNBA owners because now you've got to pick a choice. Are we the Lakers model, where we're going to go with veteran presence and we're going to try to divvy up the money? Or are we going to do the Golden State Warriors model where we want to lock up all of our young talent and give them the extensions so we can build the franchise? I believe the Project B players that you're going to that you see now, I would be totally surprised if they received max contracts from the WNBA. I see that more of coming in. And I don't know, folks, this is where you're going to have a lot of heartaches and you're going to have a lot of feelings going to be broken. Because now players that are going to Project B, I mean, they're over 30, right? You got a majority is going to be over 30, so they're really what you call mid-level exceptions. I don't know where that number is going to fall. So there's a lot of numbers that are going to fall here as the dominoes fall out as they're trying to close. Because the WNBA, there's no doubt about it. I mean, they wanted to hold a draft. I mean, they want to do the things to get the rookies in and keep the league moving, but they're going to need a signature on the dotted line. And, you know, as many people have said, have talked about Engelbert, she's going to put it on the line as well. And normally CEOs get paid on a merger and acquisition. And as a commissioner, that's pretty much your job. But I know Engelbert has mentioned time and time again, I mean, she's over 60 years old now. And life goes on. And I don't think her career is hitched to the WNBA. After this is closed, there'll be a new commissioner. And when I have an open mic, I just speak it open-mindedly. I think it'd be good for the league to get new union representation on both ends, unilaterally, or you may have, I mentioned the double-breasted union. But The Project B players are going to go over, they're going to sign. Will they get signed back into the WNBA as max contracts? You got to think about that, folks, because that's going to cause a lot of circular movement, because now you're dealing in a different realm where the NBA does buyouts. They'll buy players out of contracts. You're going to look at the draft differently, right? Because now you've got a certain number of players you're going to have on rookie contracts. We don't understand, is it a hard cap? Is there a luxury tax in this? When you look at it openly, when the owners are willing to sacrifice or give quickly, normally that's the moment you start looking and go, man, did I make a bad deal? Did I make a good deal, or did I make a bad deal? Now, we look at this collectively because it's just went out of no negotiation, the players or anything, but maybe this is the plan of how they wanted to negotiate this and how they felt they would get the best deal if it came down to money. But when you do sign or you do settle the CBA, again, it's going to be a lot of players are not going to be feeling as good as they should. And here's something I thought about, and I don't know, it really puzzled me, and I just wanted to share this with you. It's really just an open talk of what's on my mind, and I'm sharing it with you, what's on your mind. You can share it back with Money Mike, because I look at business and I go, man, wait a minute, this thing's so far off. Cost of goods sold, right? I mean, it doesn't matter what business you're in. I mean, you could be in Nike's in the shoe business, right? You got the cost of the goods sold. And I keep going back to the players in the WNBA, and I wonder, why are the cost of goods sold so low? And even when you get to Unrivaled, they project $5 billion, but you don't have $5 million worth of salaries, right? And it seems like this is something that has really got out of hand, and it's happened in the WNBA and in women's sports, is the fact that the cost of goods sold are getting compressed so low, right, to where the dollar value of the product itself, and I'm not calling the players a product, but I'm using this analogy in corporate enterprise business. I mean, your cost of goods sold are so low, you should be able to make a humongous profit, because if you look at the total dollar value and the total valuation of the WNBA, and I'll put that aside, but even Project B, to come back and say I have a $5 billion valuation, but you're paying players $120 million. It doesn't really make sense. And it didn't make sense for Ogwumike to float a number of $2 million. If you'd have floated a number, you're getting $5 million. But you floated a number where you're getting $2 million. Did you undercut the market? Did you undercut the market? I think the owners are smart enough to know they got enough revenue streams. Paying the players $1 million is really easy. Folks, several occasions, in an open mic, we'll call it a swag. A lot of times, I'm not really big on analytics. I can go back and what I've seen in prior history of leagues negotiation or different things, and that's how I can spot so many things. But tonight, in an open mic, I'll call it a swag. What is that? Scientific wild ASS guess, right? You know, you wonder, where's the advantage? Because obviously the dollar amount or the revenue structure that the league can make is extremely high. And then I valued operations in there, and that really is where you get killed. You have more people who are going to be making more money than all the other players. And you know, I've had a couple people that really put it into perspective, and even Kathy Engelbert's salary you could put in perspective, and that was to someone who sent it over and told her, I got to put the name in there, but I apologize. But one of the things you said was, you know, you got Roger Goodell as a commissioner makes $68 million a year. Kathy Engelbert as a commissioner was being paid $3 million a year as a commissioner. So when you look at those numbers and you make that relevant to a player who was making $68,000, right? It's almost like the federal government raising the minimum wage, right? And what do I mean by that? My daughter, who just recently graduated Shaw University exercise science major, right? Well, you know, the minimum wage in North Carolina is $7 or $8, somewhere in there. It's really low. I mean, you have people work for $8, $9, $10 an hour, but out in California, I mean, it's minimum of $20. So you must look at what negotiating table did you start from? Because it sounds like the women are coming from minimum wage. They got a raise. But did they really, the $1.1 million, is it really a raise for the amount of work that they will do, which is very similar to the way of what the NBA will do? Now, let's say in 2 or 3 years things skyrocket. Well, they probably will, okay, and the owners are going to protect themselves. There's no doubt about it. There's going to be incremental increases. We don't have the figures or the numbers. But it just seems odd to me that for the ladies to go from, I wouldn't say minimum wage as a professional women's basketball player, but I'd say it's below minimum wage, right, of $68,000. And now you have administration, or everybody that works for the WNBA as presently today and for the last amount of years has been making more money, okay, than every player that's playing in the WNBA. So the operations has been the major division that's received compensation, the players haven't. And you want to flip that on the other side. And really for Kathy Engelbert, whoever the new commissioner is, they'll be operating under the current guidelines. But as a CEO, they focus on merger and acquisitions. At AT&T, I worked for Ed Whitaker. Once he did the merger and acquisition, Pac Bell and Southwestern Bell. Pretty much that was his retirement went on. I think he went in the automotive industry for a while. Randall Stevenson came on, and he did quite a few merger and acquisitions, and one of them we bought wasn't the best, right? $67 billion AT&T spent for DirecTV. You couldn't sell it for a nickel, right? I mean, it was one of those bad investments that we were left with, but it's part of the deal. And now John Stanky has to come in and take over a ship that was sinking, okay, as Randall went out, but now you've got somebody coming in. Now what you've got is you've got a WNBA ship that is peaking, okay, the current leadership you want to replace, but it's got to be somebody that can also do the scalability and sustainability and also understands the current market. So the WNBA is about to close. It's Thanksgiving, it's Christmas, it's holidays. ProjectB is signed the Team USA 2024 Olympic team that's went in there and they played over there in the Olympics. Even Diana Taurasi is going to come out, and well deserved. But I want those players and all the other fans to understand, don't think for 1 minute those players are max players in the WNBA. And what I mean by max is I mean by max contract players. And it's really going to be, it's for Caitlin Clark, and I'm really going to dig deeper into that because I think her brand is going to really expand so much further, and it's going to be so huge. It will be a bigger platform than the WNBA, but it will be there as she will be able to lend a helping hand to all those young rookies who are coming up underneath her umbrella, as she's going to be the leader of those coming in. And then you'll have others who may choose other options. But for me, I mean, I've already done the homework, and the Caitlin Clark brand, and boy, the partners they have, really they're conglomerates. They control the market, and they're going to control that market for everything that Caitlin has going on. And it's getting bigger and bigger. I gave you a little snapshot, but I want to walk you through, because Caitlin is going to revolutionize what women can do in the sports world. And the biggest thing that she has done is taking complete ownership of her career, and has been extremely busy in doing it. And it may have been stress, levers, injuries. A lot of things has happened in Caitlin in the first 2 years, but now it's all about Caitlin just finding a kind of a soul search, an inner soul that she can keep building. I wanted to just bring that to you as an open mic. The WNBA, they need to close fast. I told you that. I mean, you got the NBA subpoenaed, and who knows what's going to pop up. And what you can get hit with is a cease and desist order. And that is something you do not want to have. There's not much for me to report, I'll tell you, because I do not want to report it again and again and again. But I'll tell you this, 1.1 million, including revenue sharing, is the number too low. I mean, if you look at it from the balance sheet, I mean, again, the players are going to be the smallest number on the balance sheet. This is the Money Mike Syndicated Radio Podcast. Happy holidays. Happy Thanksgiving, or you're getting ready of getting your turkeys ready. It's going to be a beautiful week. Here's what I'll tell you. All things are possible to those who believe. The CBA is getting closer and closer. Let's see if they wrap it up. We'll see you soon.